What's good in the hood, folks? Atlanta on Smash giving you educational information on Bitcoin versus banks. Banks are so powerful that if you don't have a positive relationship within their system, the chances of you getting any sort of leverage is impossible. Even if you're Tony Montana, the most powerful mythological gangster, chances are you have to check in with a bank to live in a life of luxury. In the classic movie Scarface, the biggest gangster wasn't Tony Montana. The biggest gangster was the banker. He raised interest rates on Tony Montana's hard-earned, cocaine-infested dollar. Tony Montana, infuriated with the rising rates, threatens to go to a different bank if the banker does not lower the rate of taxation. The banker then asks Tony Montana, "Who else are you going to trust?" The banker is so sure of it that he has Tony in checkmate. He dares him to allow a bank in the Bahamas of all places to custody his USD. Tony Montana cusses and fusses at the banker, but the banker sits back calmly and smiles because he knows that no matter where you're from or how much money you make, in the 1980s, a traditional third-party bank was the only place that your cash was safe. And then there was Bitcoin. Bitcoin and banks are two different systems for managing and facilitating financial transactions. Both are unique in their own way, but in many ways, Bitcoin offers significant benefits over traditional banks. One of the key differences between Bitcoin and banks is the nature of the underlying systems. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency system that uses distributed ledger technology known as the blockchain to record and verify transactions. This means that the network is not controlled by any single person or entity, and transactions are recorded on a public ledger that is accessible to anyone. In contrast, the traditional banks are centralized financial institutions that are typically regulated by government authorities. Banks act as intermediaries between borrowers and lenders, and are responsible for managing and safeguarding customer deposits. Transactions between banks and customers are recorded on the bank's internal ledger and are not accessible to the general public. The decentralized nature of the Bitcoin network has several important advantages over traditional banks. For one, it allows for faster and more efficient transactions. Because the network is not controlled by any single entity, there is no need for transactions to be approved by a central authority, which means that they can be processed much more quickly. Additionally, the use of a distributed ledger technology allows for greater transparency and security. As transactions are recorded on a public ledger, they can be easily audited. In addition to these advantages, Bitcoin also offers the potential for lower transaction fees. Because the network is not controlled by anybody, there is no need for users to pay fees to a central authority for processing transactions. Instead, transactions on the network are verified by a decentralized network of nodes, and the fees of these transactions are typically much lower than the fees charged by traditional banks. Over the last several hundred years, banks have historically robbed the people of their wealth by diluting the value of their hard-earned money. Banks are closed-source, non-inclusive institutions that do not offer the revolutionary sense of freedom that Bitcoin offers. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that allows faster and more efficient transactions, as well as greater transparency and security. As a result, many people and businesses are increasingly turning to Bitcoin as a more efficient and flexible alternative to traditional banking systems. And that makes the world a better place. Alright folks, that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. You already know who it is. This is Bitcoin Versus, and this is Atlanta on Smash.